advice to younger me that I wish I would have listened to, that maybe someone may be interested in hearing, is invest in you. I know you probably heard this before. Well, there's a reason for that, because it's so true. When you get to a certain age, I don't want y'all to regret not investing in yourself. And I mean that not just physically and self-care, but in emotionally, mentally, education-wise, career-wise, anything and everything. Creative-wise, pursue your dreams and put yourself first, before even taking a relationship too seriously. Don't let anyone guilt trip you into not investing in yourself in any way. And just trust your instincts. That's another important thing. I wish I would have done more. Especially if you're an adult, grown woman, and trust your instincts. It's good to take advice. But at the end of the day, when it really comes down to it, when you make a decision, go by your instincts, really. After you weigh, the pros and cons, too, And, the whole putting yourself first thing is really important when it comes to friendships, even. Because, there were times where I was in friendships that were kind of, more or less one-sided. And they succeeded in a lot of aspects that I could have, but I didn't put myself first, and I let them guilt trip me in a lot of ways. Luckily, these people are blocked now, and even an ex-best friend I had, I just really learned a lot that you can't really change a person. You can forgive them, and at the end of the day, they're still gonna be who they are. And the more you stay with someone like that, they're just gonna drag you down with them. So it's best to find people your people. It doesn't have to be the exact same. They don't have to be the exact same way as you, but someone that makes you want to grow as a person, be a better person, lifts you up and doesn't drag you down. And that's really important, because you can't really choose who you fall in love with. You can't really control who your family is, but you can pick your friends, so pick good ones. Depending if also, advice I would give to my younger self, as far as regarding with mental health, it's really important that not so much that you get that in check, but that you just try your hardest to heal and get the help that you're able to get. I know where I'm from, it wasn't always very up to date with things, but becoming it's never ending growing as a person, so you're never really behind with that. So as long as you keep trying, that's what matters, and you truly try, and that's what's really important. So don't knock yourself down too hard. That's what I would tell myself, and that's what I would hope for young girls also dealing with mental health problems, that not to be so hard on yourself, as long as you truly are trying, and depending on your state or wherever you're at, and the means that you have to get that help, as long as that's the most important part, is trying. Trying with not just that, but with everything in life, and just having new experiences, and not being afraid of trying that, or caring too much what people think. Coming from a really conservative family, I always cared what everyone really thought, and being a quote-unquote, what's it called, I guess, perfect little angel type person, And not that that's saying that I'm not a good person, but I'm not perfect. No one is, And I really never got a chance to figure out who I was until a lot later. I mean, I knew who I was, but I never really got a chance to express who I was. without feeling like there'd be repercussions or losing people in my life and things like that over it. But so yeah, just feel strong enough. And people don't accept you, like if friends don't accept you or what have you, if they're going to put you down for it, they're not your people. And like I said, you need to focus on people that want to help you, want to be a better person, you feel, or like, and like want to grow as a person. Those are your people, you know? And then don't do it in like a condescending way, but in a loving kind of way. And they're just, you just mesh well, you just connect. I think it's really important to have people like that in your life that you can just connect with. You get each other, whether y'all are alike or different or yin and yang kind of thing going on, whatever, But like with me and my ex-best friend, we were too different, And just for me, it didn't work. Long story short, I don't want to get into it, but yeah. The best friend I have now, a lot of them we have a lot in common, but then we don't, so it works. And I have one friend that's a lot different, a best friend that's a lot different than me, and we met in unusual circumstances, but she's awesome. And I love seeing things from her point of view and getting her take on things, and she loves doing the same, And and we still respect each other at the end of the day, and that's a really neat thing to have, and as a friend, But yeah, I'm sure I'll have more advice to give along the way that I wish I would have, like, that I wish I could give my younger self. But I hope someone could find use of now. But yeah, that's all that can really comes to mind at the moment. I'm sorry for whispering. I didn't want to wake up family right now, but because I'm in a room and the house echoes in our house. But anyway, I think the last part of advice I'll give for now, I wish I could give my younger self, and I hopefully can help someone else now, I guess, is when it comes to relationships, like I said, like, it shouldn't be on the forefront. It should just be a part of life, not your whole main goal of life, kind of thing. Is another thing is that it should also, like, I'm not perfect. I never have been, but I always just wanted to be the best I could for people. And I have a lot of quirks, and I stim a lot, and, there's a lot of different weird things with me going on, and sometimes I felt like I couldn't really be myself around certain people. Like, I felt like I was attractive enough to pretty much get any guy I wanted, but making them stay was a whole other thing until I met my on and off partner that I have now. And it's not so much that they're on and off because of he doesn't like me for who I am. I can totally be myself with him, but it's just other issues that we have, circumstances and emotional healing and stuff with ourselves, not within the relationship. But we're working on it, But yeah, that's the thing. It's just like being yourself is, I know it sounds cliche, but, being yourself, you'll attract the person you're meant to be with. Instead of being in a relationship with someone, finds you attractive, but may not like you personally, as a person, whatever. And I think it's important that, you find your person, and it leads to less heartbreak as well when you're more open with who you are. And also use your intuition if you feel like they may be taking advantage of you in your circumstances and who you are. Find a way out kind of thing. Don't let them use you or abuse you kind of thing as well. What else? Also, for me personally, I guess because of mental health things, I self-sabotaged a lot. I regret it. Excuse me. And I wish I wouldn't have done a lot of those things. I wish I would have healed first. But I think everything kind of happens for a reason sometimes. It's sad that it happened the way it did in past relationships, but it did. The good relationship I did have, I felt like I self-sabotaged a lot and was highly insecure and dumb and young. And, but yeah, not that you should be completely healed and quote-unquote perfect before you get in a relationship, but like be open and honest and try not, especially if it's self-sabotage, if you know is like kind of, if you can be honest with yourself, like, okay, I self-sabotage, kind of work on that, especially if you know it's going to be a problem in the relationship, kind of like give yourself feedback, especially if the relationship becomes serious and it means a lot to you. At least that's what I've learned and from my life experience. And for anyone going through something similar, hopefully it can help them. Another thing is just to not have fear, and do it. Do like whatever you haven't, like if you have something in your mind to do or like you want to create something, do it. Like, who cares if you mess up? Just go for it, don't wait for the last minute. Don't care if it's perfect. Don't let anything hold you back. And have hobbies. Invest in yourself, especially when it comes to hobbies, learning, anything like that. There were so many times I wanted to do things and I let people stop me from pursuing those things. And that's another thing I regret. So if you have someone telling you not to do something, but you want to do it, like pursuing like a goal or a hobby or a wish, or they're saying it's stupid and it's like just a hobby or whatever, it's your life. You're not hurting anybody. You want to pursue it, do it. F them, There have been so many times, like, I've had family, like, God bless my grandma, this is a little personal, but, she's been, I cared too much a lot of the time of what she thought of me, and I regret that. I really do, with a lot of things. Like I said, God bless my grandma, God bless her soul, but, I should have not cared too much on what she thought of me, to be honest. I'll leave it at that. Because it doesn't matter. I was never going to be good enough for her, and just the whole double standards amongst the grandkids was ridiculous. So, yeah, do it. And that comes to another thing, is like, do what makes you feel safe for your mental health and happy. Like, if you don't have to be part of, like, something, don't. Like, I stopped going to family functions because majority, not all, but majority of the family was just too toxic for me, dealing with them, things like that, and I was all the better for it. This is on my mom's side, by the way. And it's like, do what is best for you and your mental health. People will probably give you a hard time for it, but at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you. You got to put you first, because other people, they don't care. And that's what I learned too. It was very, very hurtful to hear and see that, but instead of taking a look at themselves and seeing why that might be, they're the first to put the blame on the person. And it was just it's hard once you heal and you deal with people who haven't healed, and the certain amount of toxicity that those people have, it gets to a point where they're really hard to deal with. And not necessarily just on my mom's side, it could be immediate family too. And it's like, I'm glad we're trying again, and that's what matters. But there's just a lot of hurt and a lot of growth that needs to be done, and I feel like it was all put on me when it, anyway. But at the end of the day, you do what's right for you, and you make the sacrifices wherein you need to, and it doesn't always have to be for the greater good, especially when other people don't do things for the quote-unquote greater good kind of thing, it just depends on your morals and all that. Like, I don't want to get too into it. Like, personal thing for everybody to do, that they have to decide for themselves, kind of thing. They just, everyone's different. You got to figure that out for yourself, what's right for you, and, kind of thing. And boundaries, you have to make concrete boundaries for yourself, and kind of make those known. And if you're around people who want to cross those boundaries or don't let you speak on things that bother you and will actually fight, get very defensive and argumentative over them, those aren't your people. You need people that will respect you, and you need to be around those kind of people. Yeah, you have to deal with people, all kinds of people at work, but what I'm talking about in your personal life, you really got to consider that. Don't let people guilt trip you. If they're not going to be argumentative, sometimes they'll use guilt. They'll try all of it. My ex-bestie was like that. Don't let them. Don't let them have that power over you. It also can cause a lot of resentment in the friendship or whatever, and it's not good for anyone, so, yeah, there was just a lot of issues with, that whole thing. It was very one-sided, and, maybe it's a story for another day type of thing. Like, I already have dealt with it in a way. I'm still healing. It was bad for like how long I've dealt with it and things. The jealousy on her part and trying to make myself smaller to make her happy kind of thing. But double standards, the hypocrisy, it just became too much. And but yeah, like, I'm healed. I have my partner that, to this day is just so upset over it. And it goes deeper. It goes so much deeper. And unhealed people, they cause so much pain, and it's like a ripple effect, and how much their hurt can start just hurting everyone around them. It's almost like a Pandora's box of all these different, I want to say, like, painful things that they've done. I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah, just stay away from people like that. You can, like, I think I mentioned, you can't pick your family, and sometimes it's hard to, like, cut people off, like, especially when they're family. And a lot of people can't, you can't choose who you fall in love with. Excuse me. You can definitely pick your friends. That's why they always say, show me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are, kind of thing. Because, yeah, you can pick who your friends are. They're part of who you are in a way, if you look at it, Like, yeah, they're different. They could be completely different, but they have, like I said, their core values. That's a representation of y'all's, like, the core of your friendship kind of thing. That's how I feel anyway. So it's like me and my bestie, we have different mentalities, obviously, my current bestie. But at the end of the day, our core values are the same. That's what makes our friendship so great, But yeah, and I wouldn't change my friendship with her for anything. She's perfect just the way she is. We both are, I think, to each other, perfectly imperfect. Yeah, perfectly imperfect, yeah, in our friendship, and to each other, like, we're not perfect, but, even our imperfections and our quirks. You know, we love everything about each other unconditionally. And I think it's a beautiful thing. Friendship is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And we need to be more focused on that not necessarily on, like, relationships. And that's just my opinion. Because, like, I just want to reiterate what I said about relationships. Like, relationships should just be a part of your life. They shouldn't consume and be, like, your whole forefront of your life, you know? Another thing is, like, I know I said that how my grandma was kind of like that. She was, sorry, I'm in the restroom and cleaning and stuff, but another thing I noticed is, like, not only was I dealt with people, not only did I deal with my grandma that was kind of like that with me, you know, I was very hypocritical, trying to control what I did and guilt trip me. Obviously that reflected into friendships and people in my life that I let in, like my ex-bestie. Not just her though, like I've had friends that were like that as well with me, and I just learned to just stop tolerating it as soon as that has shown, like I learned that about them, that it was like a constant thing. So I kind of like distanced myself from them, and it's helped tremendously. It really has. This probably has to do a lot with investing in yourself, but put some like money away if you're able, you know. Start saving money so you can travel, you know. I wouldn't travel alone, like that's just me personally. Have a friend that you can trust travel with you, and travel. Have a experience, you know, have like new life experiences. I think it's very important to do that. Yeah, that's just something that I wish I would have done more too in my younger years. This might be an unpopular opinion, but there's a time and place for everything. And I believe that, like, tact is really important. I know there's nuances to that, you know, like, people, you know, on the spectrum or neurodivergency and stuff like that. But, because I'm neurodivergent, like, I get it, you know, but for the most part, as long as you try and kind of, like, consider people's feelings, I know some people are just like, you just don't like me to, and this is coming from, what's it called, neurotypical people that I've known. They're always saying, like, I've never had any experience from a neurodivergent person saying this. It's always been neurotypical. So I'm just a blunt person. I tell it how it is, kind of thing. You just want me to sugarcoat, blah, blah, blah. Like the same, you know, type thing. And it's not necessarily that. You gotta be careful with people like that, because, and even if you are that type of person, it's not so much, this is my personal opinion, obviously, it's not facts. I think that's one of the things, we take everything on social media as fact. It's just how people view things, their life, or their personal opinions. So my personal opinion on that is just, I think everyone can be honest, obviously, but I think it's also kind of has to be considered as lazy, just to be quote-unquote blunt. Let's call it what it is. It's being mean. You're being lazy. You don't really care about the person's feelings. You can go about being honest in a kind way. And I think that's important. And that's, yeah, like I said, that's just my personal opinion, though. I think last but not least, at least until, like, I'll probably do a part 2 of all this, but, I don't know. I may make it like a thing. But definitely not least, but last is community. And I think it's really big to have community. It's a real big thing. We should all have community. I think that's one thing that America in general lacks, is community and helping one another. And everyone has, I think, unique, special gifts and skills, set of skills, and learning from one another, being there for one another, applying and aiding each other with those skills, and and teaching one another, or just being there, you know. There's so many things that we could do as a community, and I think we need more of that.
Well, goes miles out tomorrow. She fine, yeah. She fine, yeah. She fine.